because what's going on for us in the law schools?
A lot.
Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely an exciting time.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, yes. We'll just give it a couple more minutes for some stragglers, and then. Well, I can't blame them. Normally, I give the students. Yeah. All right, well, I guess, does everyone want to get started? It's very exciting. Welcome. This is Interactive Tools for Learning Legal Research. My name is Joan Liguoro, and I am an account executive with LexisNexis. I have responsibility for Pepperdine Law School and USC Law School. So I work with the librarians and legal research departments there, and these are some additional tools on Lexis other than just Lexis.com, which you probably are pretty familiar with, that can help you in getting your point across to students. So some of the things we're going to cover are the law school homepage, kind of our single entry point. ICW, our interactive citation workshop, certification, build your future, BYF, and tutorials. The law school homepage, which is located at www.lexisnexis.com/law school, which is separate from regular Lexis. It is a different entry point. The law students do see a whole lot more information than just a regular user of Lexis. And as I mentioned, it is one place for law students and faculty to go to find the tools and the information they need on LexisNexis. For faculty, that would also give you access to your web courses, for those of you who may be using LexisNexis web courses. Let's go ahead and, whoa, that suddenly got loud, and take a look at the homepage. Oops. Okay. Thought I had mastered switching between the two. Oops, I did. And that brought me back here. I had it open. Well, here's the law school homepage. So what happens is once you sign in with your law school ID, it will welcome you. This is a sample ID. If I was using my own ID, it would say, Welcome, Joan Liguoro. You can see I told you I had Pepperdine, so the weather in Malibu, California is probably the same as it is in Seattle today. It also then gives news for 1Ls. This is different content information depending on what level the student's at. So there's also news for 2Ls and 3Ls. They can do simple tasks on Lexis very easily right here. Get a document, case briefs, shepherdizing, get and print. They also have access to the interactive citation workstation right here also. Okay. So the first thing, we'll go ahead and take a look at the interactive citation workstation. I apologize. I played with this and it was working at home. Okay. Basically, the interactive citation workshop is online exercises, and it does use both ALWD and Blue Book citations. So there are separate exercises for each one. They both have corresponding texts and teacher's manuals available from Lexis. I did go to the Lexis bookstore, and the text was about $25, and the teacher's manuals are available. They both consist of 17 interactive online exercises to be completed by the student. And each chapter introduces and explains how to use the citation rules for that exercise, demonstrates by example how they are used, and gives a checklist for drafting citations for that exercise. I apologize that I can't get this working correctly. No, I'm trying to switch between PowerPoint and Alt-Tab, and that's what I did at home, and it worked. So my flow will be a little off. Okay, once you log a member on the home page, all I did was choose in the interactive citation workstation, and then the student would be presented with this screen. And you can see there's a tab for ALWD and a tab for Blue Book. So then you would choose which one you wanted the student to work in. Here are the 17 ALWD exercises, and similar for the Blue Book. And then you would simply, the student would choose one. Now, you do have the option as the professor to have the results sent directly to you, or if you don't want to get the student results, you can just have the student enter their ID 2 times so that they would basically be sending the results to themselves. And then this is just a sample of how it would work. So you can see they would be asked to put in the correct citation for this case. Okay? Any questions about ICW? Excellent. I've got to figure out a better way to move this.
Sorry, I had one real quick.
Sure.
You don't make distinctions with that programs in terms of like.
Well, I went to the ALWD website, and their whole philosophy seems to be that you should use one citation for both.
Right, but I mean in terms of Blue Book. Blue Book kind of makes a distinction between.
Exactly. You know, I apologize. I did not do the exercises. I just kind of looked at it. So if you want, I'd be more than happy to find out the answer.
It hasn't in the past. I just didn't know.
Okay. I know of no significant changes to it. Okay. No, I got back to it. This is not going, in my practice, this went so much smoother. Certification. Certification is a program that Lexis offers in the spring at the law schools, and it basically allows students to add to their resume, demonstrate competency in online legal research for future employers, so it's something that employers are looking for. It also establishes a national certification standard that's administered via an online live research exam. So there's consistency. So there are certain basics then that employers know that the students have met certain certain level of proficiency.
And how well is this selling to the employers that somebody comes up and says, I've got my LNCC or my LNCM, or do they care?
Lexis has always offered certification. This is the first year where we've made it a national-wide program, was last spring. And it's the first time where we've actually kind of put it together as a formal national program. I also have been a rep in firms, and my experience is that the firms do want to see this. Because it sort of ties in with our BYF program. And the first time that students are also confronted with cost situations. So they start to get the basics of cost-effective searching, which of course is important to an employer. So I think it's one of those things where, yes, almost every student can put it on their resume, but it's sort of, in the employer's mind, it's like, check, they have that. So I do think it is important to the employers. Okay? And there's 2 levels. There's the Certificate of Competency, and then you can move on to the Certificate of Mastery. And again, competency is aimed at 1Ls, and mastery would be aimed at the upper class students. And this is just some of the things that are covered in the competency. getting documents, including citation assistant, anatomy of Lexis cases, statutes and regulations, secondary sources, electronic table of contents, search advisor, source selection, natural language, terms and connectors, navigating more like this headnote, etc. Cost-effective, efficient research. So you can see they really, now the employer knows they have these basics. Okay?
And is this description either on LexisNexis or on your presentation? Description of what's covered in the competency?
I took this from a LexisNexis website. I'm not sure exactly where it is.
We can find it if it's there.
Yeah, you should be able to find it. Again, that homepage that I showed you in the beginning is generally your best source of reference information. I know for the students, I'm not sure if on the faculty, there is a link for certification on the resource page, which I'll show you. Okay, this is the mastery exam. So it's a second level of certification and geared towards 2Ls and 3Ls. The competency is a prerequisite for mastery, but because, like I mentioned, we just formalized this program, so you're going to have 1Ls and 2Ls who, or 2Ls and 3Ls who weren't really, maybe took certification but didn't take the test because Lexis didn't offer it at the time. So they can test out and then go on to mastery. So they can take the certification competency test. If they pass that, then they are eligible for the mastery test. And again, that's just to kind of get them caught up because, as I mentioned, the first year that we've really made it a nationwide standard. And again, this is the national standard. It takes it up a little bit of a notch, book browse, at least, segments. I always find segments to be probably one of the hardest things for students to master. So again, that's in their upper level mastery. Practice area pages, check site and LexLink, and again, more cost-effective tips. And then we do have practice area specific: tax, international law, environmental law, corporate and securities law, intellectual property, federal litigation, state litigation, and fact-finding. So they have to demonstrate understanding of 2 of these. So there is quite a bit more to getting the mastery. The way to take the exam is that the students are actually issued a code once they complete the classes. And the classes are usually taught by the Lexis rep. Every rep has a slightly different methodology. Typically what I do is 2 classes in the spring, and after the second class, the students are issued a code, an exam code, and then have access to the test. There are 15 questions on the test, and they are random. So students sitting next to each other won't get the same test. And if you take the test over, you could get 15 different questions or a mix thereof. Because if you do not pass, we let you take it again. Because there's always a chance that you only missed 4, and 3 is the most you can mix. They are instantly graded, and you must get 12 out of the 15 correct. Oops, okay. So this is where I'm supposed to be able to do Alt-Tab, and it just won't work. What if I try it again? No? I'm going to have to close that. Okay, for the student to access this, the test, they come to their Resource Center tab on this home page. And you'll see on the left-hand side, it does say Research Skills Certification. And I bet under some of these links, you'd probably find the information I've been talking about. And then you'll see on the right, it says Take a Research Skills Assessment Now. And then you simply type in your code. And they get the 15 questions on the left-hand side and access to the Lexis on the right. So as they're reading the question, they can do the research at the same time. And I taught this last spring in my schools, and a lot of the students would just stay after the second class and take the test. So I worked with a bunch of them, and this format seemed to be very easy for the students because they had access to Lexis at the same time they had the questions up. Okay. Any questions about certification? And I know you're enjoying my PowerPoint so much that we're just going to keep going back to the beginning. Okay, kind of a companion to certification is Build Your Future. And Build Your Future is really geared to people who are going to be working over the summer, whether it be a paid internship, externship, unpaid position, going to a national law firm, going to a local law firm. This is what I did was combine certification with BYF together, and this really talks about cost-effective searching. And a lot of the firms, to kind of play back on your question earlier, will send out letters asking the students to attend BYF. Because one of the great things about it is the students are entitled to 2 weeks of free use over the summer. So of course the firms want the students to have access to Lexis for free over the summer. So they encourage students to go. And again, they also then have the knowledge that the students have certain level of cost-effective searching down pat. And Build Your Future, again, I tie it together with certification. So I sort of do certification as a two-part class, and it covers both certification and Build Your Future. And then at the end, they can take the certification test and be entitled to the 2 weeks free use all at once. Any questions about Build Your Future? Okay. Tutorials. These are a great kind of add-on. They're located also on the home page, and they're very complementary to in-class online legal research. There's 2 levels, basic and advanced. The basic tutorials cover finding cases and other documents on Lexis, basic LexisNexis research skills, case law, topical research, career opportunities, and then you see we have 10 advanced ones. I found the tutorials are really helpful in several situations, especially with night students who don't always have access to all of the classes that Lexis gives. The tutorials can be an excellent way for them to kind of get extra skills if they can't come during the day when most of the classes are held. Law review students, a lot of times they might not get the advanced site checking that they need, so the advanced tutorials like site checking and I think there's finding a topic for your student note using LexisNexis. That's also very helpful for them. And we'll take a look at our tutorials. Here's the advanced tutorials. Oh, look, I've ended my slideshow, so. And again, the tutorials are located on the Resource Center on the Lexis homepage. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Tutorials. And here is Learning the Basics and Expand Your Knowledge. And again, you just click on it. And same format, questions on the left, Lexis on the right. I think they have to answer 5 questions on the tutorials. Okay, well, that's all I had. I thought it would take longer. Any questions? No?
Actually, would you go back and tell me again, the Build Your Future, what is that? Is that a class? What is that?
Build Your Future is a class offered by your Lexis rep.
Okay.
And it kind of dovetails with certification. So some reps will separate it out separately. Others will combine it with certification. I kind of combined them all into one. And it really emphasizes cost-effective searching.
And so there's no sort of test to take it in?
No, Build Your Future, it's what happens is you register that you've attended, and there's a website that Lexis has that you register. You get a daily code when you come to the class. You only get, again, the code for, which is separate from the certification code. And then what happens is once you're registered on the website, you then will get an email where you can go to redeem for your 2 weeks free use over the summer. So they're not the same program, but they have similarities. And sometimes it's hard to separate it out in their student mind, which is why I kind of put them together.
So does that cost-effective searching include something about how much things cost?
It's hard to talk about actual dollars since every firm's contract is different.
Yeah.
So we talk about generalities, things like knowing the difference between how to do transactional searching versus hourly searching. Because if you're doing an hourly search, you want to minimize the amount of time you're on Lexis. Transactionally, you can sit on Lexis all day and you can do one search and it would cost hardly anything. But you have to know to start broad and then use focus to narrow down. So we covered those kind of basics, and a lot of students don't know that focus is free transactionally. They don't know there's an hourly difference and a transactional method of searching. And they just don't know the differences. So that's where the employers, I think, want us to come and have the students learn this.
And maybe without dollar amounts, the difference in the file.
We also teach that. That's an excellent point. One of the things we stress is choosing the appropriate size file for the search. Because, I always say the general rule of thumb is the larger the database, the more expensive the search. And typically, I was a law student, and I notice it still to these days, students, their first instinct is to go to all federal and state cases. They just want to jump right in, want to get it all. Well, that's not a cost-effective search. It's not a time-effective search. Because if you're doing federal California law, and that's what you need, there's no reason to read what North Dakota State Court said on your issue. So you train them to go to California cases, and that's going to be a smaller file, a less expensive search, and more relevant results. So that is important, because I do see students constantly want to go into all federal and state courts. So it's their first inclination. Mm-hmm.
Yes. As far as the certification goes, that you cover case law, secondary sources, focus feature.
Yes. All of that. Actually, the way I set mine up was, I told you it was a 2-class, and I kind of wove in all the cost effectiveness, so it qualified for Build Your Future also. And what I did was I titled my first class Primary Law, which was cases and statutes, and my second class was Secondary Law, which was law reviews, news, public records, and treatises. So we do cover, again, this was kind of the first year that it was a national test. And to a certain degree, the reps tailor it for their schools. So you're still going to find slight, you might go back to your school and your rep says, well, that's not quite how I teach it. So there's a degree of flexibility in how it's done. I just thought that made sense in a student's mind, primary law, secondary law.
So basically, you could have some input with your rep.
Absolutely. They.
Like legislative history.
Yes. I don't notice it when I was going through. It's certainly not going to be in the certification. It might be in the mastery level.
Right, but I mean, who creates the questions? Is that done
in Dayton, Ohio?
That's done in Dayton.
Yes, with input from the reps.
Okay.
And I'm sure after this was the first year of the test, so I'm sure there will be a lot of surveying. I mean, Lexis, as I'm sure all companies do, are big on focus groups. So I'm sure they will do research to see what students liked, didn't like, what improvements can be made, and it was I would say, very successful program this year, and that was the first year of it. So I only see it getting better, to be honest.
Do you have any numbers as to the numbers?
Including BYF and certification, I think it was, I want to say like 27,000 students. But
we'd encourage you to have the focus groups include
that's an excellent idea. That's a good idea. And I always tell my students, and I will tell you also, the feedback button on the website actually works. And it's an excellent way to get information across to Lexis. And to be honest, they pay more attention to your information than they do to me.
I know.
You also have an equivalent with librarians, correct? You have a master's for...
Yes. Lexis has the Librarian Relations Group. Michael St. Ange is around here. He came with us. And he offers, I think it's 4 classes, and you have to take 3 to get the mastery.
Is there a distinction?
I've never taken the librarian mastery test.
Is there a difference?
Yeah, it spends more time covering, I think, some of the specialized kind of searching stuff. So
It would be like a tax law or environmental
or the
law.
business and
Yeah, I know there might be like a statutes one, and I know that there's a news and business segment. There's 4 segments, and you have to take 3 to get the certificate.
Plus, they added some additional things. All of my reference librarians took it this year. I sat in on one session, but I didn't do the whole thing. But they all were very happy with what they're learning, and they're all big Lexis users. So
Did it enhance?
yes, definitely.
Oh,
Tremendously is, a relative term.
Yeah, I know.
They thought it was worth the time they
And that's kind of true with the students too, because
I'm sure with the students,
with-
without any doubt.
yeah, a lot of them, maybe take it their second year and they didn't do any research, so it's good for them to remember their basics before they start working that summer.
Yeah.
Also, I started using Lexis when it was software and doc commands and all that. And I look at the web and I'm constantly amazed. And the beauty of the web is that they make changes all the time. So every 2 to 3 months, Lexis is putting up a new enhancement. I think June 12th, we just released a bunch of new enhancements. So even if you know some of it, you always walk away with something new. Because I have some law students who, you get your loyal Lexis users or loyal people just in general, and they will come to any class that I teach. And sometimes I feel bad because I'm like, there's not that much new in this one. They're like, but if I get one new thing from each class, that's one thing that they then remember and they don't have to learn the next time. So there's always something new. I mean, Copy with Cite was a big hit this year. I don't know if you guys have seen that, where it allows you to highlight a section of a case, copy it. It takes the citation with it. You go into your Word document and you simply hit paste, and you take your quote and your citation. And you can just build all your sources that way so you don't have to print everything out. And that, a lot of students weren't aware of. I'm sorry? New Focus. That just came out on June 12th. Yeah, what it allows you to do is focus. Here, I'll show you since we have time. See, my first inclination, I'm just going to go to federal and state cases. So let's just say we do a search. We'll do something simple. So I get 336 cases. Now you see at the top, Focus used to be a button that came up like right at the top of your screen. Now it has its own little box in the upper left-hand side, and it shows your search. So now you can just continue to focus by adding on to your search. So it's just, like I said, there's always a little enhancement. So now let's say we want to say, and damages. I did it in, see how it says search within, I left all documents. I could have done, you can go through the boxes and check certain documents. So the way I see this is helpful is a lot of times students will say to me, well, can I see if it just has this word? And instead of having to like redo it, you can just check that box and see if that case has the word you're looking for. Exactly. Oh, the original focus box where you used to...
So you can put it back.
Yeah. Which you're kind of, this is what focus used to look like. So, a lot of times when we make these advancements, we keep what people are used to. Right. So you still have all of these, but you kind of have that quick...
I think there's an option. I'm not sure. We just learned this the other day. There's an option whereby you can set it to either this focus or the new focus.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't played with it. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Preferences are how you make permanent changes to Lexis. So whatever you make in your preferences will continue with your ID. And so I'm assuming that there's probably a focus one. Where is it?
Show focus bar. Okay.
Oh, here it is. Oh, wait. Oh, here it is. I see it. Yeah. So you could take off the check mark if you don't like the focus bar. See, I learned something new each time, too.
Do you all have any plans to do something comparable to statutes? You all already have something in the
Well,
Lexis that sort of...
I'm not entirely, like, when you do Statutes Plus, it allows you to go to, like, ALRs. Is that what it is?
Well, it gives you, with the statutes, I mean, before it was you had a table of contents feature, had, you could search with natural language, and
new and revolutionary.
Right, so I didn't know, and I know you guys are like.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, it's really fun to be in an industry where, like, as a consumer, like, we just continually play against each other, and you guys win all the time. Because any change.
Free market economy at its very best.
It really, it is. It's really, you know, it's the Coke and Pepsi all over again. So, of course, it's going to happen. I can't tell you when. I heard rumor, and I hesitate to even tell you, but rumor, that they're going to start with New York first. And then, obviously, it'll roll out. I would assume California would be close behind. But, you know, eventually it will hit Lexis. Our table of contents I love. Have you guys gotten familiar with that and the expanded table of contents? That's another, if you're in preferences. For some reason on table of contents, the default is not to allow the multiple level expansion. So you want to go ahead and always check for allow multiple level expansion. Let me just show it to you because it's pretty cool. So you've always been able to like click on the positive sign and you can go level by level by level. Now you can do down to the bottom level in one click. So you click, yeah, isn't it good? So what you would do is you just hold your cursor on the positive sign and you see you can actually open to 1300 and this entire section of the code in one click. It's great. It's also, again, this is something I taught in my cost-effective classes. If you're just looking for like the name of a code section, instead of having to do a search, you can just actually be looking at the entire table of contents. And if you find your code section, you don't have to do the search. You can just link out to that code section, and that's much cheaper than searching the entire code. So this has a lot of cost benefits also. And that's the kind of stuff that we can point out when we do certification in BYF, because you don't have time for that in just one class. So, and as Lexis and Westlaw grow, you need to continually be exposed to it. So this is just great. I love this. It's also nice. I had someone who wanted to print out the index to the family code in California. She was like, how do I do the table of contents? So we expanded it, and then you can just print it. Did that work? Yeah, see, so now there's the entire thing. I don't know if you know, this is another thing they added to Lexis. I'm doing Lexis enhancements now. But you can now shepherdize directly from your statutes. You were always able to shepherdize statutes on Lexis, but you had to go to your shepherd's box and type in the statute number. Now we've added the word shepherdize on the statute. You see that at the top? So once you're in your statute, you can actually just shepherdize it by clicking on the word shepherdize, so you don't have to take the extra step. So that was kind of a nice little enhancement that came out this year, too. You want me to just keep showing you the fun stuff? Any other questions? I laugh at myself because I think it's fun. You know?
It is fun, and it's nice to have somebody who enjoys it teaching it. Kids can tell the difference.
Yeah, I love it. The students are great. You know, they're so rewarding. And like I said, you get your very loyal users who come to every class that you teach, and they're just so sweet. It makes me remember way back when. Any other questions? Anything else you'd want to see on Lexis? There's the copy with cite that I was talking about earlier. Let me just show you how that works, because that's really good, too. So you just go into whatever you want to quote. Not much in this one. Oops. You highlight it. You come up here to copy with cite. And it automatically takes the quote for you with the citation. You copy to clipboard. You have the option of leaving it in Word as a hyperlink or not as a hyperlink. And you simply copy to clipboard. Then when you go into Word, you just paste. And it's right there for you. And I've had a couple of students use it. They love it. Law review students, journal students, paper writing students. This is great. And it works in all different sources on Lexis. So you can go to your treatises and do your research. kind of put it in a document. You can go to your cases, your statutes. So you can have all of your kind of quotes, and you don't forget where they came from because you're taking the citation with it. And it saves, I think it could save paper too.
The Lexis printer is not too far from my office.
Oh, so it's going constantly.
Oh, bless their hearts. They don't know that they've hit, print entire
Oh, yeah, I think
42 of the U.S.
code.
Yeah, that's one thing too. One of the
How to print.
Well, one of the problems we run up against is someone will find an intersection.
Mm-hmm.
And virtually it doesn't look that long, but when they print it out, it turns out to be 3,000 pages. And I think you have something that sort of says, this is how many pages. But
Yes.
it's not very, it's kind of inconspicuous. It's not, I don't know how.
Well, there's a couple things. This one says pages 3.
Right.
And then when you hit print, sometimes it'll tell you how many pages. But if you're using fast print, it's one-click printing. It just goes straight to the printer.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So that, it's probably, and it'd benefit you all because it would save you on paper, is if you had, are you sure you want to click? This is
Right.
over 500 pages. Are you sure you want to click?
Right, and I think that's a great idea. Again, I would totally recommend that you use the feedback button. They really do. This is how all of these, like copy with cite, this is how all of these changes get made. There's literally, they call it the queue at Lexis, and things get moved up and down based on consumer demand.
Okay.
And if you really command at it.
Yeah. So, in addition to this being the touch panel to control all of the media,
Yeah.
you actually can see what's being projected on the screen.
And you can
That's
actually
pretty
preview this because see I've turned off
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
so I can say okay I've got something in the VCR and I'm going to
Love
preview it, get it where I want it to go,
Oh my God.
and nobody's doing it, and it's just sort of sitting here, and then I either
Yeah.
you have to send the program
Right,
to the
right.
projector.
Right.
So if I send this now to the projector and put show on there, I'm going to have a video thing.
I'm going
Eventually.
Well, there's no video, so it's
there's no video
probably.
in here, so we should get a blue screen.
And all tabs should work, right?
Yeah.
It worked at home. I'd never used it before.
Oh, isn't that the pits?
That
There's
is so
nothing
strange. I mean,
like a live thing,
Yeah.
and we all, well, everybody knows you worked on it and practiced
Yeah.
it, and we've all been standing there going, "Whoops, it's not working like
We've
I wanted
we've
it
all
to."
we've all been there. Every
We've been
single
there,
one.
done that.
Yeah, so no problem.
Okay.
So if you're using the computer that's in the home, this is your screen.
Okay, that's really fabulous.
So
And you have
what
it
we have-
locked up.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Ooh, good.
so so faculty get
Right.
a key
Okay.
that opens the podium, and that's I'm going to slip this back in. You turned it off for me.
didn't realize
Thank you.
that short, but I'm sure
Well, plus you were speaking to people who try to keep up with what's going on. That's why we're here.
there is a lot going on.
Yeah.
So the computer over there.
I mean, you don't have to unlock it out.
Leave this anyway. But anyway, we have a wireless mouse keyboard. Pop it up.
For the class?
Yeah.
Brand new.
Yeah, well, you're brand new to it, won't it? I'm gonna put this